In 2008, I came up with the idea to form a social online community for the Tampa Bay area, revolved around the issues of climate change and peak oil. I realized the impacts of these forces on our society, and I thought that we needed to come in unity around changing the Tampa Bay area towards a more sustainable future. I used what scant resources and rudimentary website skills I had to form the website Code Green Community. Over the past 3 years, the website has grown tremendously. We've had so many active members and spread the green community across the Tampa Bay area. It's been incredible to see the development. We utilize the platform Ning, which is an online social community platform. This allows forums, events, groups, videos, blogs, and photos, as well as online applications that our community can utilize in order to communicate our community's ideas and allow others to collaborate with them. This is going to be the annual report for Code Green Community and what it's been up to in the year of 2011 and how I see it progressing to 2012. Currently, the cost of Ning is $59.95 per month, and if we were to raise $599, we could receive a 17% discount. So that's one thing that one fundraiser that I would like to host, so that we can actually start saving money on the cost of the website. This website has been community sourced. People have been donating small amounts of money, and this money has been going into a bank account in a community bank, and the PayPal account has been paying for the Ning website. And every month I've been putting in my own money as well. We currently don't have enough donations per month to cover the $59.95 plus all the taxes and everything. So one thing that I would like to encourage is, if you really enjoy Code Green Community, please consider donating. It'll help continue the Ning website and the other applications that we have added on this current year, such as Constant Contact. So for the year-end stats this year, we had over 205 new blogs, 257 new members have joined, with a total of 545 on the website. A total over the past 2 years has had over 543 events. I couldn't figure out how many events happened this year, but if you look at the other statistics, you'll see that probably 2/3 of all the events happened this year. Videos, we had 188 new videos posted on to Code Green Community since the start of 2011. There's been 13,000 unique viewers have seen this site this year. The highest day of new views was the day that the article came out about Erica and Anna on April 24th, with over 200 new views. And I'll talk more about that. Of the 13,000 people that visited this site, there's been a total of 25,000 visits. 50% of that are new visits, and the other 50% are returning visitors. So people have been coming onto the website, checking it out, and then coming back repeatedly. So that's a great thing to see as a designer. The website has been seen all throughout Tampa Bay area, as well as throughout the state of Florida. We're making a huge impact on what other communities are doing up north and in Orlando and in Miami area. And as you can see here, the different cities throughout the Tampa Bay we're having a great impact on. Tampa and St. Petersburg are the top 2 cities, followed by Newport Richey, where I live currently. And in the very middle of the Pinellas County, we're also getting Clearwater and Pinellas Park, Palm Harbor. So we're getting a lot of people throughout the Tampa Bay area connecting on one website. Also, many of our members have been adding themselves to the member map. You can see myself here on the member back. This is a great way that you can connect to people locally in your neighborhood by pushing on their profile tab and messaging them directly. So one of the main things about Code Green Community is we want to get 450,000 people active in the Tampa Bay area that are going green. And that's a key number because that's roughly 15% of the total population of Tampa Bay. And if we can get that many people involved, then there will be reaching a tipping point where the whole population of Tampa Bay will continue to go in a green manner, get more sustainable, and start doing more activities and volunteering. So over the past couple of months, I've been plotting out on a graph the amount of members that we've had since the beginning of the creation of the website till roughly mid-2011. And I was beginning to see that there's been an exponential rate of membership growth. So we've been exponentially growing. And that's a great thing. That means that we're going to continue to exponentially grow as more and more people share this website. So if one person shares this website to 2 people, and those 2 people share it to 2 people, and those 2 people share it to 2 people, you can see how this website can grow really, really quickly. And I chart that out in this graph. I used the rate of exponential growth to figure out roughly when we could see that kind of growth. So for a long period of time, we may see maybe a couple of thousand people on the website, but basically overnight we could see in about a year's time exponential growth towards that 450,000 people. And that, I estimate that could occur sometime in December 2014. But who knows? This is just estimation. It's about having fun and enjoying the community. And that's what I've been doing for the past year. I've been enjoying the great community of people throughout the Tampa Bay area. In January, I posted the most amount of YouTubes onto Code Green Community. There were 16 blogs that were created by various members, and including myself. And I posted several different movies. One was about Jay Hambley. She talks about organic gardening. And this was a permablitz done at Bun Hudson at the Angelus, which is a community for physically handicapped and mentally handicapped young people. There was an interview with Rick Martinez from Sweetwater Farm. Then I visited the Florida Earthship down in Mayaca City. I also visited Mary, the Queen of Recycling, who hosted Jay Hambley. She spoke about what she thinks how Pinellas County can grow more green and recycle more. I visited in St. Petersburg this seminar where they had a discussion of 2 scientists about whether Al Gore was right on climate change. Also, I visited the Roosevelt 2.0 where there was a rehab event where they talked about the Earthship and building the Roosevelt 2.0 as well as other projects they were working on. I visited down south to Echo Farm in Fort Myers with the Permaculture Guild. We visited after our permaculture design course concluded. In February, I traveled to Pinellas County where cistern and rainwater harvesting this speaker was going on. I also spoke with Don Hall over Skype, and this is the YouTube of that. All of these YouTubes are in a Prezi, and I'll share this Prezi so you can go through and you can see all the YouTubes that has been released this past year. In February, we hosted a weekend showing of the film Home, and we had venues all throughout the Tampa Bay area. And we tried to collaborate and working on doing a Tampa Bay wide film showing on a regular basis. I think that it needed a little bit more organization. There were a couple of venues that we didn't have it come out right, but there were a few venues where it showed and there were a lot of people in attendance. So this is something that we could work on later in 2012. In March, I released 4 new YouTube videos and we had 18 blogs written. I traveled up along with a member named Stacy to Green World Path, and we spoke about peak oil, Code Green community, and transition towns to a group about 40 people. I also spoke at the Zeitgeist event that was going on in Pinellas in Clearwater, and I spoke about peak oil, climate change, and what the Zeitgeist movement, which was based on Peter Joseph's film, what they can do to avert peak oil, which was spoken about in Zeitgeist 3. I spoke at the Newport Richey Library to the Transition Newport Richey group, which I started up. This group has been doing and helping showing films in the Newport Richey area, and I discuss about our future plans and what we've been doing. Also, I talk about the website itself. I do introduction to Code Green community. In April, we had a great blogger called Eric and Anna. They put together a blog called 12 Months of Change, where every single month they challenge themselves to change the way that they use or consume or their different behaviors to try and become more sustainable. And this has been going on all throughout the past year. Their last month of change was in December. So they posted these blogs on Code Green Community, and the St. Petersburg Times picked up on it, and they wrote an article, and that was that day in April where we had the most amount of viewers. And also that happened in April, we hosted a Permablitz with the Clearwater Unitarian Universalist. They had a community garden set up in the back of their church, and I YouTubed that process. In May, there were 12 blogs, and West Pasco Habitat for Humanity got together and started a community garden. I helped YouTube that and helped set up the garden. We created a garden in the shape of the Habitat for Humanity logo. That was a great event. In June, we collected funds from various donations from people to start up the Tampa Bay Green Living Economy Map. This is an online collaboration where people can post businesses, green locations, and different points of interest for people throughout the Tampa Bay area. It's an online tool for people to use. As well as 21 blogs were written on Code Green Community. In July, we had the most amount of blogs written, 53, a total of 53. Also, we had 4 YouTubes that were produced. I started producing some YouTubes from around my home. I did a sheet mulch and I YouTubed it. I have a pond in my front yard, and I YouTubed how I used permaculture to build the pond and a food forest around the pond. And I also have a YouTube about my first egg. I have some chickens and a chicken coop behind my shed, and this is a film about that. Lastly, I went up to Brooksville to interview and check out Green Acres Organic Aquaponics. It's a great commercial aquaponic farm where they raise tilapia to produce wastewater that is recycled through hydroponically grown plants, and the bacteria digest all of the waste in the water and make it clean and produce food for the plants to use. Oh, what's going on? Next I went to August, and in August I got the opportunity to speak at Ignite Tampa Bay. So I had 5 minutes and 20 slides, and the slides went forward every 15 seconds, so I had a small opportunity to speak, and I got a great opportunity to talk about Code Green Community and what we've been doing. I also got a chance to go to Hungry and Hernando in Brooksville at Green World Path, where we got an opportunity to learn about how Hernando is combating the hunger problems. I put together a small animation of bears
I was just thinking about
about Tampa Bay. That kind of cracks me up. about Tampa Bay in the future and how we can transition away from fossil fuels. Everyone loves talking dogs and talking bears, so I created a YouTube about that. I also got a chance to visit a local man in Newport Richey that I know and become friends with named Pete. And he has a company called Green Dreams, and he does edible landscaping. And I got a chance to visit his backyard edible landscape where he grows moringa trees, and he has a backyard raised garden beds. And he has a great setup. Check that video out. Oh, it's not going back to where I want it to. Let me just go for. So in September, we had 19 blogs and 2 videos were produced. One was where I was speaking to the city of Newport Richey, and I talked about Transition Newport Richey. And the other one was about the Tampa Bay Green Living Economy Map and how any member can utilize it. Then the next month in October, we had an event go on called Transition Training. It was hosted by Don Hall at the Roosevelt 2.0. I'm sure that if there's more interest, they'll probably have another one sometime in 2012 as well. And this is training to start up your own transition initiative. Also, there was the Occupy movement that started up this month. There was Occupy Tampa and the Occupy Tampa March that I both attended to. This was a month that I really got a lot of understanding about how much connection there is between corporations and sustainability, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I also revisited Green Dreams and saw the changes that developed the past 2 months since I last visited. And lastly, I went to Green World Path again to visit and hear a speaker about aquapini, which is growing aquaponics, and wallapini, which is growing a pond underneath the ground, which will use the underneath the geothermal heat from underneath the ground to heat the water to keep it at a temperature where it doesn't freeze. And in November, we started up Constant Contact. I've been adding money to our account, the Code Green Community account, so that we could do this because I feel like it's a really important aspect that we've been missing, a weekly newsletter so people can keep up to date of upcoming events and new blogs and just a sense of community so everyone knows what's going on with Code Green Community. And I also joined the Green Dreams crew. I've been talking with Pete for a number of months now, and so we've been developing education about permaculture and organic vegetable gardening and food forest, and I've been teaching classes at Green Dreams in Odessa for about 3 months now and introducing over 40 people to permaculture and introducing them to new ideas about how to grow your food in more of a perennial way instead of using annual vegetables. In December, working with Green Dreams, I've been traveling around doing farmers markets, sharing Code Green Community, doing projects with Pete such as building greenhouses and raised beds, and learning how to garden much better. I think food growing is going to be huge, and I'll talk about it. I feel like we all should be starting our own little victory gardens. So lastly, I'm going to talk about what I see in store for 2012. And I think there's going to be a lot of change in 2012. And there's time for change. We need the change that's going to happen. And let's start to talk about that. As you can see on the left-hand side, there's a film called 2012 Time for Change that's out, and I have it posted on Code Green Community, but this is the YouTube, so you can watch it if you're watching this Prezi. It's a great film that talks about permaculture, and it really exemplifies this idea of a worldwide individual paradigm shift. Now, permaculture has been traveling all around the world. This is a map from the Global Permaculture Network. And so there's permaculturists worldwide, and they're mostly centered in North America and Australia, but they've been developing programs about growing food in a sustainable manner all around the world. And these ideas and these concepts, they're spreading. Now this is a showing of a film of the flight path around the world for 24 hours. As you can see, we're no longer one nation. We're a globalized world. We're interconnected by so many ways. And when we do things here locally in Tampa Bay, they can spread virally around the world. And so a worldwide paradigm shift could possibly happen. This is something that would be outstanding because we desperately need it. Climate change and peak oil are going to greatly change how society works and functions. So the ideas and the collaboration that we're seeing locally, we could eventually see happen on a global scale. But it's going to have to come from individuals. So there's been a huge homelessness and hungry problem in Florida. I have a YouTube of the 60 Minutes segment where they discuss the hard times in Orlando, Florida. It details how there's homeless children living out of vans, and they're hungry and desperate. Their families can't get any jobs, and they're having a real tough time during this economic crunch, this economic depression that's going on. And I feel as Floridians, we definitely need to focus on the homelessness and the hungry. There's so many connections between food and housing and the banking industries, that if we tackle them all at once, we could find a way for us to take care of these people that are down and out right now, and start to build a new economy. I feel that's something that I've been having these thoughts and dreams about, and I'd like to see that occur in 2012 and start to develop. We also have the Tampa Bay Green Living Economy map. We've been seeing a lot of new businesses pop up. If that could grow and develop, I think it could be a tool that people throughout the Tampa Bay area could utilize and find these green businesses and help them grow. I think that there's going to be a lot more relocalization of our economy, a growth of personal social community, where we have groups of people meeting on a regular basis and getting to know one another and form connections and relationships. A growth of local energy, of solar power and renewable technologies that we can grow here locally. The idea of local money, the Tampa Bay Time came out last year, which is the website that I have right below. You can check that out, where you can time bank your time and volunteer your time to certain projects, and then you can use that time as like a credit, and you can trade that time for time with other people. Also, the growth of local food. Local farmers and local gardeners are starting to grow more and more food, and there's more local farmers markets that are opening up. This idea of local manufacturing, I feel as peak oil develops and the cost of transporting things around the world increases, we're going to have to start to see more local manufacturing. And with the invention of 3D printers, this idea that we can print things and you just need a design that you can get online, I feel that local manufacturing could be a huge development and could be a growing new economy. I feel that what we need most right now is a renaissance. And when I mean by renaissance, I mean a rebirth of culture. We need to look at what it means to be a human being and to have a culture that builds itself around the human needs and the human values. So that means we need food, we need water, we need air that's breathable. We need to focus our economy on making those things the prime things that we focus on, not materialism and consumerism, but focusing on the necessities for human beings to survive and thrive in the future. So one thing that I feel that we could do to help expedite that renaissance is a victory garden movement. If we're all growing food in our backyards, we can produce that food and share it and and sell it and start to develop a new local economy. More economy that's localized instead of globalized. There's been a lot of development last year against this idea of statism and collectivism, this idea that the state will solve all of the problems. So the climate change, there's been a summit for the past 3 years now, and every single year there's been no lawfully binding agreement, and all of the agreements in the past, such as the Kyoto agreements, are starting to age, and some of the countries are leaving that, and there's been no new agreements on a worldwide climate agreement. So it's going to boil down to individuals locally developing this. We can't depend on the government, and we can't depend on the corporations because they're in bed with each other. If you look at the federal government and Monsanto, the genetically modified seed developer, or if you look at the federal government and GE, the technology corporation that develops most of our energy production, or if you look at the federal government and Goldman Sachs, the main financial corporation that does a lot of dealing throughout the world, you'll begin to see that there's a hierarchy. If you just follow the money, you begin to see that it all leads towards Wall Street. And the corporations and the governments are using Wall Street and the military and the government to get the resources and everything that they need from the people and the living things underneath of all of them. So they're using force. None of this is voluntary. No one's agreeing to this in a democratic way. We're all having to be forced this economy that's subsidized by our public funds, and we're all developing this economy by paying our taxes and buying things, but we're not agreeing with the direction that the economy is going. And the only way that we can change that, I feel, is if we start directing where our resources go towards. So we should focus our resources on the local and not the global. And I was going to show you that, but okay. So think global, act local. This idea that we're focused on the global, but we should be focused on the local. We can think about the global, but act locally. And how can we do that, It's all about our choices. The choices are ours. We can, depend on corporations, or we can depend on a local economy. So there's this idea of corporatism, and there's the idea of regional economies. So we should focus on our regional economy instead, depending on huge economies of scale that are globalized. Focus on local economies of scale. And we can revolutionize this using Twitter, Facebook, online, and the websites that we've developed. And I feel that Code Green Community is one of these websites that we can utilize to develop this new economy. And I want to thank everyone. It wouldn't be possible without the membership's contributions. Thank you very much for your contributions for this website.